about what they think of me. Yeah, I stop thinking about what they think of me. I know that we had the power to be whatever we wanted. Light up, just light up, illuminate nature. So light up, just light up, throw your fears away. 'Cause I stop thinking about what they think of me. Yeah, I stop thinking about what they think of me. You know that we had the power to be whatever we wanted. It's been humming for a while, but I push it back into my mind. There's a darkness in my head, try to shake it, but it has its time. 'Cause I know where I am, can't keep holding to what isn't there. And my words not enough, can't keep holding to what isn't there. Your pain, your pain.
What's up, everybody? Let's see if I can turn the volume down on the music before it comes back up. That should be sufficient. Hey, how's everybody doing today? Somebody's watching, somebody's probably watching Formula 1 on the side here. Defcon set when? That'd be cool though. I'm doing great myself. Thank you for asking, dogs. How are you doing? Did anybody catch Ipsek's stream earlier today? I think he had his, like, I wouldn't say it was his first live stream. It was so trippy watching his live stream and you know, his sort of his iconic voice live, not being pre-recorded. That was kind of nice. He definitely has an iconic voice. Like, you'll recognize an Ipsek just based on the voice, 100%. It doesn't play the same song. Is Coven? Does Coven have this much great? She does. Wow. Hey, C5 Spider turns well, cool. Here to steal some stuff, eh? I'm kidding. Kidding. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. I was really happy that he provided a trial license for this. Obviously, you know, when we do stuff like this, we got to keep in mind that the individuals, or individual in this case, producing this sort of software isn't going to be in the chat and able to defend, you know, everything, every design decision ever made in this framework. So I'm not really interested in bashing out or like calling shitty stuff out. This will be more of a, I really enjoy this, and then, you know, a future please fix sort of list for other stuff. I mean, for sure. I mean, me as a consumer of these products, the harder we can get the competition, the better it's going to get for us, both in terms of pricing and feature sets. So it's really cool. Let's see if I can get my webcam on here. Okay, webcam's on. Oh, you tried though, you tried with the structure. Hello everybody! There we go, webcam on. It's gonna be a lot of fun though. So, I guess, like, full disclosure, in case anybody's wondering, I have no deal with Paranoid Ninja or anything like that in terms of what I can't say or anything like that. I just, you know, I don't have any interest in just, you know, talking shit about others' products. But he offered to give me a trial license, and I said, can I show it on stream? And he was like, fuck yeah. So I was like, sure, let's show it on stream. I wasn't really prepared for him to be, you know, letting me do that. So kind of cool. Yeah, weekend's almost over. We're getting ready for a Monday soon. Shame. Prepares pitchfork. Skelsex, you're gonna have to do the shaming for me then, I guess, right? Now we won't be doing that much shaming. But we'll definitely call stuff out that can be improved. I mean, I know this stuff is definitely under active development, so anything that we might say, you know, might go into the roadmap and, you know, like trigger a design decision or change. So might have a chance to like influence some of the stuff. Monday fun day, said no one ever. I mean, Mondays ain't that bad. Oh, I'm kidding. Mondays suck. Yeah, no, Mondays suck. Just gotta get a coffee and then get through it, and you're good. Okay, so I've played with Brute Ratel maybe for like a solid hour before the stream, just to set up the licensing process, just to get through the licensing process, and, you know, to not make a total fool out of myself. But most of the stuff here is brand new to me, so we're going to be discovering this together. Yes, this is going to be uploaded to YouTube. It's actually being streamed to YouTube. Being streamed to YouTube and Twitch at the same time, so it's automatically uploaded once the stream ends. Monday is research and development day for us, so that's not bad at all. That's nice. Yes, I think this is a Windows only implant in terms of like the beacon side. Yes, the implant side, yes. Fridays are research and development day. So our stuff is a bit different here. We don't have dedicated days in the week. We just sort of schedule them, and then we can take them out over longer periods of time. So I think we can, you know, last year I scheduled a 2-week research and development period, which was really nice. So every company has a different sort of implementation of that. But just having dedicated research and development time is amazing. You know, not everybody has that. Far from everybody has that, I should say. Yeah, so as I said, basically just set up the licensing portion of it. Let's see if I can share my screen here. This is almost sort of, this is like, feels my nerves every time. Okay, let's see if I can share my screen. There we go. Cool. Actually, give me a second. I want to check what's in the root folder here, so I don't like expose the try license I got or something. Want to be a bit cautious. Cool. I like the Android monitor. Does it have jitter? Yes, it has jitter. Every day is research and development day if you're a workaholic. So true, Scalesec. 100% correct. I mean, do you even work if you don't spend a portion of your day doing research and development? Nah, that's a joke, but no, it definitely happens during engagements that you just yeah, that sounds like a really good work-life balance. Lol. Nah. It's a mixed bag, honestly. Sometimes if I'm like doing an engagement, I get so like sucked down into a specific technique or like a tactic that I'm developing that I just disappear into it, and my day's gone. I was supposed to do stuff that day, and nope, just ended up reading up on this and creating this and making that working. It's really cool. One of the benefits, keeps our brain going for sure. Okay, so this is what you get when you download the so how the licensing and enrollment stuff works is that you get once you purchase the license, at least based on my trial stuff, you get an email with your trial license and the ID, which would be the email, and you go to the website, you download it. Pretty much works just like CobbleStrike. If you ever use that, you download the package. This is the package you get. You get 2 pre-compiled team servers, one for ARM64 and one for Linux 64. And then you get this is like default configuration setup that you could use as a baseline for creating your own stuff, and I'll go through that profile, Brute Ratel's equivalent of malleable profile in a bit, but that's something that's all the examples and stuff is here. And then you get a couple of pre-generated TLS keys if you want to use that out of the box just for testing. Obviously you shouldn't do that. Yeah, and then there's a nice little install bash script that you run that will install the dependencies needed on the workstation. I have a work balance. That's not a balance, that's just work. Yeah, the install script that fixes the dependencies, that's nice. And then you have again the team server that you will run, and then the actual commander, which is which would be the GUI, which would be the CobbleStrike GUI that you connect to the team server with. So this is GUI based, this is not CLI based, I guess I should say then, right? So we could just try to fire up the server. Let's just check out the help options here. So right now I'm saying -R for, what the fuck does -R stand for? 10? Oh yeah, that's the mode, correct. So there's like different modes from these binaries. So you have Ratel, Update, and Boomerang. So yeah, we'll talk more about that later, but the SOX proxy functionality in Brute Ratel isn't actually baked in as much as, say, CobbleStrike is, so we'll talk more about that. You're not late to the party, we're just getting started. So what you're doing is that you're starting the Brute Ratel team server, and then you're telling the team server that you want to go into Ratel mode, which is the team server mode, and then you give it a configuration profile, a config. And that config will contain, the password and username. This is very, very similar to CobbleStrike in terms of how the C2 channel is supposed to behave. You could add some predefined credentials if you're firing up a second team server, I guess, and you want to use predefined credentials. You can set some behavior in terms of like what child process or fork and run what process should be targeted for fork and run operations. Obviously sleep. C2 related, SMB payload config. Okay, so not sure what that means. We'll need to talk more about that. One thing I did notice, which I think was really cool, and probably like depending on the how deep you want to go into it, I found this rather like at least easy from a beginner's perspective. So instead of having to create an aggressor script that I load in order to trigger some custom command or combination of commands, I can actually define them in the configuration file. So I can register multiple types of, you know, aggressor script-ish commands or aliases, is really what we're doing here for the Brute Ratel. So I can say that I want to pre-register a C# executable and see, you know, register P, then I'll create my new command called seatbelt. That seatbelt command should load this path, and it's, you know, you define all these variables which will show up in the GUI to tell you what's going on, and then you have a predefined seatbelt commands, you know, and then you have that. You can use that instead of having to type execute assembly every time or the equivalent, right? The same goes for inline C# executable, which we'll talk more about, as well as reflected DLLs. So if you have your own custom version of Mimikatz in reflected DLL that you want to load, you can do that. Cool stuff. I also noticed this, which I thought was a nice thing. So when you use in Cobalt Strike, you have both the lateral movement and the jump command. Those are two separate ones, right? But they basically do the same thing. The ones involving PSExec basically creates a service, uploads a malicious service binary, sets the path of the service to that binary, and then starts the service. Brute Ratel supports that same functionality in terms of lateral movement, but you can actually predefine what those services should be named and the description of those services, so you don't have to come up with them during the actual engagement, which I thought was, you know, nice to have something predefined. Makes the command smaller, but it's not like an innovation or anything. Just, you know, again, you can why not profile that out if you have the possibility. Hey, ServerSec, howdy, how are you doing? Took a break from F1. Did they crash already? I'm just assuming everybody watches F1 at this point. I have no idea. I don't watch it myself. Okay, so this is the configuration file. I guess I'll just use that as a baseline, and then I'll fire it up. So the password for my team server now should be admin for one user. I don't watch FN, thank God. I guess if you were watching FN, you wouldn't be here, right? I don't watch it either, lol. Okay, so we'll fire up the Brute Ratel server here. Okay, so these credentials. Okay, so I thought that's interesting. Oh yeah, we need to give it sudo, of course. Okay, so that's interesting. Okay, no, never mind. Monster. Hey, don't be like this. I feel like I'm 13 when I drink this, but it's honestly like it's a solid alternative to coffee. When I get sick of too much coffee, I drink this crap, and, you know, coffee and whatever. Chad, monster Chad. Oh, Paranoid's in the chat. Great, we can blame him for everything that we find now. If we find something we don't like, we can like blame him and flame it. Yeah, so I might want to change that for sure. So the C2 handler should be fine. That should wildcard bind, and then the host back. I could just create a new listener. Actually, I'll just remove these listeners and I'll just create from the GUI because I want to show that. So that should be fine. These payload configs, I don't need the TCP portion of it. Sure, let's use the SSL keys, why not? Yeah, so that's what I thought. The credentials options were to add the pre-existing credentials if you're spinning up a second team server or something. I think I said that before you came online. We can remove that as well. We don't need it, but actually let's add one. So Ah, no, this machine isn't domain joined, so no point doing that. Cool. Let's see if we can fire it back up again. Now running as admin, so it can successfully bind. Then we'll fire up the commander run me, and we'll point to localhost 8443, which is the team server IP. Would work like Cobalt Strike. Give it an admin password. I actually, so funny thing, I spent a minute trying to figure out where the fucking connection button is. It's this image. Just oh, cybersec, have you used Brute Ratel before? Do you use it where you're working on it now? Cool. Feel free to share pro tips and stuff. Or complaints as well. Since Paranoid Ninja is in the chat, you can tell him directly. Kind of scary when he joined now, you know. It's like me trying to criticize Putin's work and then Putin is standing right behind me. Look at me comparing Ninja Paranoid to Putin. That wasn't nice. You know what I meant. It was humor. Okay, so this is what the main sort of team server interface or you know, Brute Ratel GUI interface looks like, the C2 interface. My understanding of this is that we have event logs here, which list out, you know, the typical, again, comparable to Cobalt Strike. So cybersec said that he has a chance to, he had a chance to set it up and not put it in action yet. Soon though, cool. We have some web activity as well, again comparable to Cobalt Strike. Scratchpad, which I don't think Cobalt Strike has. It has it like per beacon. So I guess I don't really see myself ever using this, but I mean if you're multiple operators and you want to share something you found or some credentials from a file and you don't want to add it into a credential or whatever, sure, but like most of the time it's solo missions in terms of like the C2 operator perspective, and I do red teaming, so yeah. Command queue, being able to view all the queue commands, that's cool. If you have a long haul beacon or in this case, what's it called? As you say, beacons. You can see the commands queue, that's nice. Warmongers, that is actually, so warmongers, my understanding is that is actually operators connected to the C4 badgers. Yes, sorry, beacons are badgers. I love how you know that Cobalt Strike changed the industry when I have to refer to the Cobalt Strike naming of things to understand, you know what I mean? Then you know Cobalt Strike shaped the industry. So basically, badgers, which I love that name by the way, is beacons, and then warmongers are users. So me, I'm logged in as the admin user. If I if I go back into the profile and I added another user here, then I could log in, and you know that would be my second operator user. That would actually be my like operator user connected to the team server. Honey badgers. They all beacon back. Potato, potato. Brute Ratel will also change the industry one day. I mean, yeah, absolutely. If not already, right? Chatbox, again, probably something I would never use, but it's there, so why not? It doesn't take up a dedicated window. If this had taken up a dedicated window, it would be a waste of space. He put it into one dedicated window with tabs, which is great. Yeah. And I think you can even, right? Yeah, you can disconnect it, so you don't have to watch that all the time. Oh no, what did I do? I did something. Okay, let's just leave that for now. Let's just minimize it. Oh, okay, so you can change the placement of it. Cool. I'll just minimize it for now because it's like the least useful window. Tupatam, hello. He's watching from YouTube, right? Hey, what's up? Cool. Okay, so you have listeners, which is your incoming C2 traffic listeners. You have your badgers, which would be your active list of beacons or badgers. You have your credentials tab, which would be the credentials you either preloaded into your config, or if you added them during the engagement, so you can easily use them. And again, yeah. Oh, he jumped over to Twitch. Awesome. I'm doing great. How are you doing today, Topotam? Okay, so we'll set up a listener here. So I believe that is under C4 profiler, add listener. We'll give that basic HTTPS, and then the listener IP, same, nice, port, and then the user agent. And obviously, you know, you wouldn't fuck around here adding headers in the GUI. This would all be done from the profile. It doesn't make sense fucking around in the GUI like that. So you have the option to, but there's no need. Malleable post data, same. You wouldn't fuck around here with the GUI and that. You would just add it to the C4 profile. And then, you know, the target OS is Windows. So this might be a hint that in the future, maybe far down the roadmap, there might be implants or badgers cross-platform compatible, since we can choose Windows here and there's no other option. Cool. SSL, yeah, sure. And then common off and one off. So honestly, I haven't really quite figured out what this is. My understanding, or what I think it is that one off indicates that the badger could authenticate once. So you might have to explain this, Ninja. What is the common off and one time off thingy? Okay, so we got feedback from CyberSec. I think the only user interface element that bothered me a bit is the callback timer in the bottom left corner. I like seeing it in the badgers. Okay, so I haven't noticed this. So this is the callback timer to the team server. Right? Okay, so I'm thinking, CyberSec, you probably thought this was the callback timers for the beacons and not for the team server, because I'm guessing this is for the team server. Or am I wrong? Okay, so we use common off. We'll create a random set of authentication keys. You don't want to provide it. Let's die if we can't reach it. Sure. We have to add something here. Again, you would configure this in your config. So let's do favicon.ico and cats.jpg, whatever, doesn't matter. Okay, so that's for multiple badgers. The UI shows the actual date time when the badger connected back. Okay, so I think my assumption was correct. I think the bottom left here is just for the team server. Cool. Or sorry, the Brute Ratel server, I should say. Cool. We created a listener that binded to the correct IP. I think there should only be one network interface. Yep, correct. Cool. Qt. Yep. That's Python, right? That's how much I know about user interfaces. It's not. Cool. Oh, it is a language. I thought it was a wrapper. Qt++. Okay, cool. So it's like for everything. Cool. Okay, so we got listener going. How do we generate a badger for that listener? We'll go to right-click the listener in the listeners tab, generate payload. Then we can choose. This is pretty straightforward. Let's create a badger binary. Let's put that on our desktop. 64-bit. Has been executed. Cool. I'll move this over to the other VM. I'll see myself out. Is the learning curve for Qt brutal? Is that what you're saying, Gribby? So full disclosure, this VM doesn't have Defender or anything like that. I don't want to be the guy submitting samples accidentally on stream, so we won't really include the evasion capabilities from like a static perspective or from like a static analysis or signatures, static signatures right now. But you know, if it's no virus total, yeah, well, no virus total today. So I mean, my gist of this is that I think most C2 frameworks should struggle to give the flexibility to get around runtime detections. So you can, we can specify that through the config, just like Cobalt Strike kind of does already. It does, and just like Brute Ratel also does. But I think the static stuff should be left entirely up to us. I don't think any C2 provider should be spending time making sure that the binary or shellcode or hex output produced by the C2 is statically undetectable, because I think that's going to be a lost cause in the long run. If you want to do it when you have in the beginning, sure, but it's going to be like, I don't think it's going to be doable. I don't think it's honestly going to be worth it anyway, because you know, as a user of this, you need to be able to package yourself. That's going to be one of the tasks left to the user, the operator, for sure. Homies don't. There should be like a saying for that. You know, you have snitches get stitches. You would have something like that just for VT. Somebody should come up with that. That'd be cool. Like a saying for people who upload to VT. Hey, Olaf here as well. Of course you agree with that. Ah, you hunter. You are not late. Ah, you're a tiny bit late actually. Actually, now that Olaf joined, I think I'll take my statement back. I think everything should be undetectable from the product generator, 100%. Cool. Well, you get to now. I'm basically advertisement at this point. Feels like, at least. Cool. Okay, so we got a direct connect. Oh, Elsie is even watching. Damn. Okay, I gotta end the stream. Great everybody. Have a great day. Can't talk more now. Okay, cool. So we got a connection back. Obviously through the HTTPS listener and setup. Let's explore some of these commands. So instead of interact, you have load. Oh my god, we got bots. That means I'm doing something correct, right? When I have bots. I must be doing something correct then, since I got bots joining my channel. I'm like popular then, right? See if I can get these bots kicked out. That should be it, right? Oh, okay. You meant it in the actual... Okay, so I'll get you now. So service access. So what he meant in his previous statement was that in the last scene stuff, you have the last local time scene and not the time. Okay, so I would agree that. I would like to see that as well. I think it makes it harder to see. Yeah, no, I agree with server sec. I would also prefer like a second indication. Cool. So one of the things Brute Ratel has that Cobalt Strike does not have, that I wish that Cobalt Strike will integrate at some point, and they probably will, given the competition ramping up right now, is the ability to change some of the template configurables or configurations at runtime. So say, you know, obviously my config indicated that search protocol host should be the target, you know, fork and run process or target child process whenever I want to load some sort of functionality through shellcode into another process. I want that target process to be search protocol host. So one of the things about you can do with Brute Ratel that you can't with Cobalt is define this at runtime. So I can go help, and then I can change that child process to be something else. So if I want the child process to be, you know, let's do help so I can actually see what set child. So let's see, I want to set it to Notepad for whatever reason, or you know, Verfault. Let's just use the example. I can change that at runtime, and then, you know, I mixed it up instead of having to you know, redeploy a whole new listen or team server with a different mountable profile in order to change it. In Cobalt Strike, you can change the parent PID process or the spoofed parent PID process when you do injection, but you can't change the target on the beacon afterwards without redeploying profile. Yeah, it would be, I mean, probably break some error rules by having that, you know, at random, or at least like a select, or have like a multiple selections. But with Cobalt Strike specifically, I've had the issue. With Cobalt Strike, I've specifically had the issue where I land on a server, you know, and I need to do something that requires a fork or run operation, right? And the server or whatever machine I landed on, for some reason, doesn't have the binary that I'm looking for, or the binary that I specified in my malware profile. So now I can't do fork and run operations on that host without going back and redeploying a new listener with a new profile, with a new, even a new team server, and redeploy a new beacon on that machine. And now you could say, you know, Melvin, you should have checked that the binary you choose for fork and run operations were available across multiple Windows servers platform. Yes, I agree with you. I should have done that, but I didn't. And I think I should have had the option to change that at runtime. So it's not about making every parameter in the entire config changeable at runtime. It's just about making some of those key indicators of compromise changeable, so that when the landscape changes, say, you know, I have a long haul beacon, I have a normal beacon, and then my normal beacon dies because it got caught by some sort of indication of compromise, sorry, it got caught for some reason, and they're starting to pick up indicators of compromise from that machine. I would like to change those indicators of compromise on my long haul by, say, changing one of them, which would be the fork and run operation, right? So having that flexibility, I think, is nice. Also, you can change the injection techniques used when you do those fork and run operations. So say, so you can change both the memory allocation techniques and the execution techniques used, or the thread execution technique used. So you could say, oh, hacking LC. So what's your favorite C2? I can't name it, but you know who it is, you know, or you know it, but I can't name it. So, you know, if I wanted to change the memory allocation technique, I could just simply write set malloc and then choose 4, which would use NT allocate virtual memory and NT protect virtual memory, NT write virtual memory, in order to get the memory into the target process. And I would just choose 4, and then, you know, that's changed. Whenever I do a fork and run operation now, that's the memory allocation techniques used. Same for set threadx. I could use 11. Oh, sorry. And this is the sort of stuff that I feel Cobalt Strike is missing. Yes, you are correct. But there's a difference between doing spawn to, which would just move you into a new process, than all the other functionality in Cobalt Strike that requires fork and run. Say execute assembly, or pass the hash, or any of the other, you know, again, fork and run based commands use that predefined binary from the config, and you can't change that. But spawn to, you are correct. If I wanted to move into another process for some reason, that is correct. I could do that with spawn to, but the fork and run operations required by some of the other commands, say execute assembly, then yeah. Let's check out some of the other commands here. I think it, I tested this for just a couple of hours earlier last week, I think, and it has 80% coverage of all the common stuff. You have everything you need for lateral movement. You can patch ETW and MC on demand. You can list out drivers, loaded modules, processes. You can query, you know, all that normal housekeeping stuff is all here. One of the things that it does have, compared to Cobalt again, is the Vault token stuff, which is really cool. So let's say I have multiple beacons spread out over multiple machines in the domain. I can actually steal a token, say from a domain admin or something, on one machine, and that token is added to a Vault, and then I can take on the C2 side, and then I can take that token and apply it to my current session on another beacon on another machine in the same domain, and then I can use those privileges again. And that's, you know, in terms of trying to, you know, break the chain of how we got here, that the blue team or the incident response team will try to find once they catch you. It's really confusing for them. How the actual frick did okay, so computer A was compromised, domain admin was logged in, and then suddenly, you know, we have a process running as, you know, on a totally another computer, but we don't see the normal login events because we're just applying a new token in memory. Yeah, it could really confuse the sort of trying to the insert response team when they're trying to hunt you down. So I thought that's really cool, and I definitely probably on the Cobble Strike roadmap. And I don't think Brute Ratel was the first to implement that vault stuff. I think, who was that? Was it some of the C2 frameworks? I can't recall, but I'm pretty sure Brute wasn't. Oh, one of the things I wanted to show you, have to run it as admin for that, but one of those things again that is extremely handy to have in the framework is the ability to, like, okay, so sure, there's so many techniques to dump LSS now. Many of them revolve around, you know, hijacking existing handles to LSS to avoid showing the, you know, the EDR solution or whatever that you're actually opening a handle to LSS. But there's a bunch of different ways, and one of the nice implementations that Brute Ratel has is the ability to dump LSS using some secret sauce entirely in memory without touching disk. So, you know, I think there's two different ones. You have Shadow Cloak and Shadow Clone. So Shadow Clone would do the PSS capture snapshot technique and dump it to disk. And then you have Shadow Cloak, who extracts the memory without calling Mindump Write and downloads it to the Ratel server without touching the disk, which is really cool. Again, doesn't go into detail on how this works. I don't know if Ninja wanna share how this works, but I just thought I'll showcase it. But it's because it's pretty cool dumping LSAS without, you know, triggering the most common, or without the dumping touching disk. Sorry. See if I can find LSAS. The search functionality works, which is great. So. Oh, I don't know. I don't need to give it the PID process because of it. It's a command specifically for dumping LSAS. So, and now it's carving it out of memory and downloading it without touching disk, which is really cool. And obviously, this isn't some sort of magic technique that's going to get you past every XDR out there. But, you know, I think the last time I tested this, I did test it at least against Defender, and it worked fine. So, I think CyberSec is onto something. I don't know. I'm just saying the cool factor here is like high. The coolness. This is really handy, you know, in the event that you want to dump LSAS. Another thing is the LDAP courier that has a somewhat of a GUI. Let's see if I can get that up and rolling. So, where's that? That's like a dedicated thing. Yeah, there we go. LDAP Sentinel. This is really cool. So you have something called LDAP Sentinel, which allows you to run a couple of built-in LDAP queries. It basically, obviously, you have, you know, if I'm not mistaken, let me just check before I say that. Give me a second. Just checking something here. So yeah, so in our in Trusted Sec's buffs collection for Cobble Strike, we have a buff that's called LDAP Search that does something familiar, but it's completely CLI based, and you have to give it the full LDAP queries yourself. You don't have anything pre-built in, and you can, you know, yeah. But again, it's just sort of a wrapper on top of stuff that makes stuff easy. So I think CyberSec found out how this LDAP dumping technique works. Basically, you create a transaction file on disk, which is only accessible to the creating process. Write content, put it in memory or whatever, then roll back the transaction so it was never there. Cool factor high. That's just what I'm gonna say. So this is cool. Obviously, this isn't that different from just using LDAP search and doing, you know, raw LDAP queries. But having a tiny bit of GUI on top of it, why not? So one of the things that I haven't tested, and I think is going to be one of the things that might need, I wouldn't say improvement, but change up, is the SOCKS bridge. So the SOCKS server, which he calls Boomerang, is entirely separated, and it creates and establishes a new connection outbound than the existing C2 communication one. And this is both great from like an indicators of compromise perspective, where you could have a SOX bridge going. It wouldn't affect the C2 communication to the Badger because it's separate. But you have to set it up manually, which is, you know, a minor hassle, I would say, but still hassle. Yeah, I think it maybe could be integrated in a better way, or in a more streamlined way. But it's separate, and it supports SOX 5, which means that UDP works properly, and with that DNS resolution works properly, which is again something Cobalt Strike. They told me on Twitter now, or told everybody on Twitter, that is on the roadmap to get SOX 5 going, but that's like a huge improvement in my mind. So I guess I'll have to give the SOX a try. I would kind of, doesn't make sense because I'm still in the same subnet. I'm just gonna say that SOX probably works. So you give it a IP and a port that it connects outbound to, and then the URI, again, this is customizable again, so you can break that indicator of compromise based on the beacon or the Badger traffic and this new traffic, user agent and encryption key. I think SOX 5, did I lie? I'm pretty sure he has SOX 5. I'll let him respond to it. I think somebody suggested that to him way back, and then it got implemented. Let's see. Oh, I'll take it back. Boo. SOX 5. So I think both him and Cobalt Strike then has that on the roadmap to implement SOX 5. I thought you implemented that. Okay, my bad. Sorry. Boo. No, but SOX 5 is definitely going to be like, it's one of those, please. I'm guessing since nobody has it yet, it's probably a pain in the ass to implement. So where do I see downloads? Server view downloads? There we go, there's the mem dump. The agent part of SOX 5 is torture. Interesting. Another thing is the, you know, I guess, yeah. Any other stuff you guys want me to sort of specifically look at? So one of the things that irritated, or I've already told him that I would like him to implement is you know, auto completion on the local paths here. So there are some, say, let's say sharp loads the C. So let's say sharp reflect loads the C# executable effectively in the target process, where you have to give it a local path to your C# binary, and there's no autocomplete, which is a bit annoying. So I would really love autocomplete for local paths, probably on the roadmap. That would be something I would like. Honestly, having the commands on top, I'm just so used to having the CLI work from the bottom up and not from the top down. So, you know, I don't know if there was a version where the command were at the bottom, but I think I said I might prefer that, and then put these tabs on top. I think that's one of my major feedback, and that's just I mean, that's just because that's how, you know, terminals works usually. You give it a command at the bottom, and then you see the history on top. So having to give the command on top and seeing the history go down is different, I should say. So I guess let's test our defined command. So seatbelt, this is something we defined in that config. So let's see if that works. It indeed does. Monologue is one of those again that's pre-added. Yeah, one of the other things that I gave feedback to him is that I would really like a native implementation of pass the hash. past hash. So from a red team's perspective, most of the time we can get away with capturing the credentials of the user context that we're in, and then, you know, either capturing an NTLM hash, recovering it, or keylogging and getting a password, and then we can use that those credentials through such procs within packet, and we can just, you know, do what we want towards the network that way. In some scenarios, for whatever reason, you might need to pass the hash. And honestly, that's really the only Mimikatz. There's so much stuff in Mimikatz, so I can't say only, but that's like what in my mind, one of the major things still used in Mimikatz in this context. So I think maybe not removing Mimikatz, but having a native past hash implementation that is undetected and that doesn't require you to fork and run and inject Mimikatz into the remote process, because that's just one of those things that's going to get flagged so quickly. I mean, unless you have a heavily modified version of Mimikatz, it's probably gonna get you caught. So yeah, so you already have that for desync, I recall. Oh no, is it really? Pass the hash? Shut up. Is it true? Next release. Okay, sorry, that makes sense. So it's already implemented and cool. So having past hash, login password, and cover rows are built into the next release that hasn't been pushed yet. I'm assuming then, because I just downloaded this, I'm assuming it hasn't been pushed yet, but it's in the release that's currently under construction or under development. Next month, cool. So I guess that's a sneak peek, and having past the hash is really like separated out without having to invoke the whole Mimikatz toolkit in memory is really nice. Cool. Love to see stuff like this getting pushed. And I think that's one of the, obviously I sort of, when I made that comment on Twitter a couple of weeks back on Monday, you know, obviously I was putting it on the edge and I chose violence, but Cobalt Strike is, you know, when I use Cobalt Strike in my operations, 80% of the time I use the SOX proxy, and that's both because that's all I need, but also because there's so much functionality in Cobalt Strike that I can't begin to explore or can't use operationally anymore because it's so heavily either fingerprinted or like the footprint of some of the commands are just, you know, won't get past EDR solutions. So having some of those major Mimikatz functionalities pulled out and re-implemented in a less detectable way, in a new way, really, or in a slightly different way, definitely helps a lot. So Olaf says the team server and socks are okay, don't use the rest. Indeed, it's true. That would also be true for Sliver, right? So I wanted I think Sliver is going to be something I'll check out next, because I've heard a lot of people actually that sounded bad, but actually use Sliver, as in they actually use an open source C2 framework on engagements, and that should tell us something about how potentially well a good Sliver is, or properly done in terms of OPSEC and stuff. So I wanna play with Sliver at some point for sure. So I haven't tried Mythic either. I think I wanted to try it at one point, and then I saw the huge amount of infrastructure I had to deploy to get it up and running, which probably there's a really good reason for it, and it's probably freaking fantastic. But if I'm not mistaken, you need like there's a bunch of like supplying infrastructure that's needed, right? Or am I wrong? I'm probably wrong. Yeah, all the Dockers, right? And that just open source C2 is bad, finally said it. No, yeah, all the Dockers. I think that's what scared me with Mythic. Yeah, Mythic is good. You can customize the agent to your heart's content or create wrappers, but the install script works pretty well. Cool, okay, so I'll definitely have to check out both Mythic and Sliver then. Yeah, but I was going to check out Mythic on my free time at once, and I just saw like the amount of services you needed in the form of Docker container, and I was like, yeah, I ain't spending my Saturday on this. But yeah, it's probably really good. And I actually have a Mac, so it would be cool to check out Mac implant as well. Well, Sliver's trying to get there, but usable because it's easier to evade usually. So when I say, obviously open source C2s aren't bad, but there's a lot of half-ass open source C2s that you would never use just from an operational security context. I'm not gonna, and you know, they're not saying they're trying to be anything more than that, but some of them are trying to be like proper C2s that you can actually use, but they're so half-ass-ish made that you don't, you know, there's, you know, if there's not even a proper key exchange, then you can't use it operationally. You know, might as well start an outbound TCP unencrypted netcat session over the internet then, you know. Having stuff is, especially when you get to exfiltrating, my experience tells me that when you get to exfiltrating critical stuff, the client is going to come after you with like fucking torches. How is the key exchange here? How is stuff encrypted? Who accessed this? Do you have the proper logs for this, right? Because obviously, because it's their information, they don't want it exfilled over some base 64 encoded string without encryption. Yeah, I did the SO Mac training. So, Spectre Ops Mac training, I'm assuming then. Mythic is pretty nice for Mac Linux. For Windows, Brute Ratel is much better suited, I guess. Two entirely different C2 frameworks. One is paid, license-based, one is open source. Might as well MSF Console. I would argue MSF Console is better. Or a Metasploit. But the framework part is getting there, and yeah, it's encrypted. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure, that's why I said I'm pretty sure Sliver, I'm sure people have mentioned to me that they have actually used Sliver from an operational or like during actual engagements. And I haven't tested it or tried it, but I think it, yeah, I didn't say it was usable, but he said suitable, not usable. But you know, from like I think when C5's brother dropping his C2 bomb. Okay, that'd be cool, man. What? Hey, Ipsec, thanks for joining, man. I just watched your stream earlier today. Man, so jealous of you right now. I wanted to play with BRC for a while. Dude, you could probably just reach... I think Paranoid is in the chat. He'll probably provide you with the trial license if you want to play with it for sure. So I'm not sure he hands them out to ask him. I mean, I think he just got through the legal battle of being able to sell them to individuals, which personally I don't see why you would do that, but ask Ninja, he might hook you up in terms of a trial, that is. Am I getting paid for this, Ninja? Did we decide how many bitcoins I was going to take for this stream? I'm kidding. I'm kidding, of course. Trial has limited features. All the good features are paid to win. Yeah, Ninja would have to answer that. 350? I hire. No, I'm kidding, of course. After Rustamouse didn't pay me, you know, I just stopped bragging about his stuff, you know, or bragging about people's stuff when they don't pay me for it, so, you know. Yeah, I think I was, yeah. NFTs. Oh my god, NFTs. That should actually be a banned keyword in my chat, honestly. NFTs. Those might be worth something, but nah. Okay, so let's talk about some of the other features here before we talk away. So, time loop, I think is really interesting. Obviously, in Cobalt Strike, you could do something like this with the extendability in terms of, again, aggressor scripts. There's both, you know, 2, 5, 30 hourly, 2 hourly triggers that you could use to do something the same. But if you say say you are waiting for a VPN connection to come up, which is really which has happened to me a lot on the last engagements, because people are working from home, so you have to wait for the VPN connection to come up to actually do anything to the internal network. So you can have a time loop running ipconfig or whatever to check the network interfaces, and then once a new network interface or once an IP is assigned to the VPN network interface, you know that, you know, time to query the LDAP server. Suspended run, I think we have something similar in Cobalt. For me, this is what mainly separates it. Being able to configure these things at runtime is just a major win. Being able to define your indicators of compromise post landing on the host is the major win here. With Cobalt Strike and most other C2s, I have to define my indicators of compromise before I land on the box. I cannot, which is very static, I cannot dynamically change them based on the box, or I can't as an operator query the box and see the box before I choose what indication of compromise to take. This is where I can do that, which I freaking love. Would be great to test, you're old like me, calling out Olaf. Would be great to test live BRC4 on some AD Hack the Box Strike box. So, you know, right now I'm sort of just running and gunning right here. So maybe the next time I'll check out a C2, I'll actually spin up a lab and we'll go through the same tasks or the same challenges with that C2, and we'll see what the different feature sets and flexibilities in the C2 give me of an advantage compared to each other. You know, let's say I have to laterally move to 2 boxes, impersonate a user, stuff like that. We could try to get like a obstacle course, you know what I mean? That would be cool, setting up a C2 lab obstacle course for these different checkouts. Right now I'm just running and gunning. So I think, Ninja, I think there's even a MITRE direct connection here, which you could take at whatever value you want, but cool. Process discovery, cool. This is pretty cool. So you can actually map out what the different commands means in terms of in MITRE. That's cool. Obviously, this is going to be more or less accurate. Event logs, I'm guessing, are just stored. Let's see. Good questions, good questions. So let's see. I'm done with my engagements. I want to view the logs. Cool, they're on disk. Can I download them, or is it on my disk, or is it on the team server disk? It will be the same in this instance, but... Graph for kids, lol. Logs. Nice. Okay, so I'm assuming this actually is... This seems to... Okay, so this is the actual like team server startup log, and this is the log for the different beacons or badgers. Cool. So notice that the timestamp here is based on the system timestamp. Yeah. So can you, I would like some sort of override feature to set all this to UTC. When I deliver my reports, whenever I give them timestamps, I always give them in UTC. Always. It's just one of those preferred things. Olaf, when you get logs, how do you like to get them? What time zone do you like to get them in? My understanding is that UTC is preferred because most like collecting solutions for logs actually timestamp them in UTC. What's your thought about UTC? Just makes it easier, yeah? UTC or it doesn't exist, I agree. Agreed. But this is pretty cool. Okay, Nina, what's the max exfil size for files here? What's the max file size I can download? Counter-Strike is 4 gigs max. Hey, pretty kids to bed. Go enjoy that. Olaf, talk to you later. Thank you so much for jumping in. Really appreciate it. Killer feature, change wallpaper. Camouflage. Runs the credential capturing pop-up. We gotta try camouflage. Camouflage. Pop-up title. Please give threads. Try that. There's no limit from what I recall. You can also specify what the size of every request. Okay, so you can adjust the chunk size after the fact. Cool. Again, one of those things that you just... The frick? Cool, so captured. If I recall, in Counter-Strike, a chunk size is defined in the malleable profile and it cannot be adjusted afterwards as well, right? Again, if anybody have anything they want me to test and run, please let me know. I'll check it out. You know, again, I'm just running and gunning here. I have no predefined schedule for when I want to get through anything. I should have probably, but so just looking at the malleable command and control examples here. Let's see if chunk size is here. Try to download a 100 meg file. Maybe the in-memory debugging. What happens if you run a command and it hangs? Okay, cool. So try to download a 100 meg file. Okay. Why not? So I think the memory debugging is kind of there. So that's the manual stuff you can run yourself. But if I recall correctly, a lot of the memory debugging stuff is done through these obfuscated indirect syscalls, right? How you resolve them. Can you do other things while you download? I'm hoping this is multi-threaded. It's gonna be a failure if not. Let's check it out. I'm just gonna grab like a password list or something here. I just downloaded Brave as well. I'm gonna give Brave a go. See, how big are these files? Let's take this one. 8 megs. Not big enough. 46 megs, not big enough. Oh, you saw that. Okay, so the reason, let me explain. The reason the Minecraft video was there was because I was testing if Brave actually killed YouTube ads or not, and it did. So that's why. Don't judge. Oh my god, what file is 100 megs here? Top row bubble word lists. EPA, get that. Testing, he says. So the obfuscated indirect syscall thing, I think he goes into detail during his blog post about it, so I'll guess I'll pull that up, but he could probably, since it's in the chat, he's gonna give a much better explanation than me, so why not? Feels like this is more of a Brute Ratel Q&A than anything else. It's fine. So I think in this, he goes into how his debugger implementation helps resolve the syscalls. God, IPSEC, you'd save my day. Yeah, I swear to God, the only reason I didn't test it. Pretend like you didn't have that lying around in the notepad. I saw you playing with PowerShell today. I see ya. I see ya. Oh, yeah, of course. C. Why does it default to System 32? Why don't you default to the path I'm in? Jesus. There we go. Wow. IPSEC saves today. I mean, what can I say? What can I say? Okay, so let's go back to the Badger. Let's see. Does it have a file browser? Does it though? IPSEC is visit confirmed. And then, you know, we'll try to give it some, yeah, commands while we do it. Seems to work just fine. So let's do window lists. Yeah, so multi-threading is different there. IPSEC, dude, I would have never passed any of my 2 certificates ever if it wasn't for IPSEC. I mean, IPSEC is the god, it's the thing, it's the shit. Sorry, you can't post links, Ninja. If you send it to me on Discord, I could forward it so they can check it out. Yeah, so the multi-threading is definitely there, as you know, any modern C2 framework should have these days. Oh, this is annoying. I recall this. I want to be able to disable this. I recall this when dumping the alsas as well. I don't want this window to when I'm working on a command, I don't want to be jumped down. So I would love to have that locked as well. So can we adjust the chunk size midway? Download. Let's see. Size. Can I probably have to adjust it when I type in download, right? I'm assuming. Oh, this is annoying. Stop downloads. Yeah, I stopped it. No midway, okay. Download file name, okay. So let's do the same command. So we have history here, that's nice. Let's do help. Oh my god, where is it? There we go, file. And then let's do 4 megs, why not? So in this, what's the default? I don't think the default was 4 megs. There we go, much faster, right? Yeah. Yeah, so that's another one of those things. Consider it added. Cool. And a way to remove the skull background, not professional corporate friendly in the screenshot. That is, you know what? That is actually a solid point. I agree with you. I would probably try my best to just have this portion, like the left side portion when I do my screenshots, but I agree. If this was customizable, that would be nice. Having the company logo in the background there, that would be really nice. Like from a customizable, or just removing it straight out. Feature request right there. The skull is cool though, but I agree it doesn't match in with a company report. That's a good feedback right there. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, we want them themes. Hey, you were supposed to go put your kids down. Where you at? Ninja's crying right now. Done already. What? Those are some nice ass kids. I don't like that. Should have kept you busy for at least an hour. I'm happy with all requests. No, really though. The skull can't be removed. No, are you sure though? Can you put it somewhere else? Can you like hide it for for like a given time, so you don't have it in our screenshots. Because I agree, you know, having, obviously you can't take the log and then just screenshot the log output from the logs file, but that would totally work. But I agree, maybe being able to, how about the logo being here instead? Okay, I can add an option to disable the skull. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Oh, switch them out. There we go again. So we can switch the entire profile. So how does this work? So this is all in memory, right? So as soon as if I kill the process and restart it, then obviously it will go back to the old profile, right? There's no indication of compromise in terms of actually dropping like something on disk or anything like that in terms of the switching profile stuff. Cute honey badger, that's cool though. I'm just trying to think of. Right, gotcha. Okay. So it just it patches itself basically. Can the logs be stored as a JSON or other KV format? It would be nice to parse and ingest. So that's also a good feature, having the commands output in JSON, so you can maybe integrate it with something like Ratel. That would be cool. There is a webhook. Okay, so there's a REST API. We can. No, okay, no, outbound webhook. Okay, so you can register a webhook that will call outbound every time a command is ran or executed. Cool. Locks users workstation. Yeah, but I still think the command should be at the bottom. I think that's one of those as well. It just makes so much more natural that the command is at the bottom, I have to say. Can you change the colors and stuff as well, the green stuff? Obviously it's all gonna be preference, but so I kind of agree with him that it's very easy for us to see that there's no script kiddie behavior, anything like that in terms of the actual feature set, but that the look might be a bit script kiddie-ish in terms of like the hardcore green text and the background. I mean, it's again, it's all yeah, it depends on what you like, but no, I agree. Maybe just I wouldn't ask for full themes. I don't think you should waste energy on that, honestly. But maybe just allowing the text color to be changed, that would be dope. That would be great. Maybe go away from being able to go away from the hardcore green. That would be great. And then being able to disable this logo. Obviously, if you don't want to change it for intellectual property reasons, whatever, that's fine. But being able to remove it and change the color of the text, that would be dope from a reporting standpoint. I agree with that. But this is the management meeting. Management meeting. I like that. We went from like super technical stuff to I don't like the color green here. Can we change that? Is that possible? Okay, so this is some of the debugging stuff. So list export from a DLL, which is already loaded in the current process. So can I list, is there any way for me to list the exports of a DLL on disk? Say I was preparing a persistency technique where I wanted to do proxy, IPSEC's favorite technique as well, you know, DLL side loading or proxy DLL loading. And I didn't want, for some reason, the DLL was, let's say I found the DLL in some software and the DLL was fucking huge, so I didn't want to download it. But I wanted to list out its export, so I could compare that DLL exports with the version that I have to make sure it's the same, so I can prepare a proper proxy DLL. Is there any way to like list out the is there any way to like list out the exports in the DLL? Okay, I'm referring to DLL side loading when you... It's basically the same as proxy DLLing. Oh no, right. Side loading, you usually inject out to another process, yeah. But the fundamental is the same though, to get the DLL in. Hey Flamik, hey, hello Nopsled. Thank you so much for the follow, Nux. Actually, I'm gonna like self-advertise on this. I wrote a pretty good blog post on this a while back. I'm gonna hashtag advertisement, yeah, this. Oh, thank you so much, appreciate that. So I actually made a pretty good blog post way back on how to do DLL sideloading with C#. And I think I refer to it as the same. But yeah, sideloading usually does code injection out. I'm gonna post this here just because, you know, shameless plug, whatever. You're already watching my stream, so might as well feed you with some content, right? Oh, can you unload C modules after execution? So usually the process, so for this, again, it's fork and run. So you start, suspend a new process, you inject C# module into it, or you inject into it, and then you load the CLR, and then you load the C# application into it. And then the process dies, right? So unless you're doing it in the same process, which I'm guessing he does by loading a new app domain, which again would be killed afterwards. Yeah, I think the answer is yes. I think it does it by default. So because I noticed you had a self inline execute assembly or something, alright? I think you had an inline execute assembly for C# applications. So is that handled by app domains? Or do you use app domains for that? You also have the classic block non-Microsoft signed DLLs, and you would be amazed about how many non-corporate antivirus solutions gets fucked by this. There's so many like basic antivirus solutions that would just be completely blind without ETW MC if they use Microsoft MC, and then just blocking non-Microsoft signed. This will kill so much. I didn't think so, but it really will. Where is the... I'm pretty sure Ninias left the chat. We had too many feature requests. No, but I'm pretty sure there's an inline execute assembly there for C#. Sharp inline loads the C# executable within the Badger process and returns the output. Okay, he's writing. He hasn't left. Plus, unfortunately, it's a pain to unload CLR in your own process once you load it. CLR runs in separate thread altogether when you load, so you can't unload without killing it. Does block DLLs work? I was kind of under the impression that 80% of respectful solutions was cross-signed nowadays. So, in my experience, depending on what you're up against, if it isn't what you would categorize as a super decent EDR, or I'm gonna go with EDR. Block DLLs has an impact, but obviously that's gonna be entirely dependent on what you're up against. Okay. So this will all be stuff for Nina to be answered here. I'm glad I haven't just answered my stuff. So is this the sharp inline? We could actually check. Do I have process hacker? We could check how the abdomen stuff behaves in terms of the inline execute stuff. And we can also check if the inline execute C# blocks the thread. I think he said it already does. And yes, I will be making sure this doesn't leak stuff outbound. Yeah, I think you have to manually enable it for the VT stuff, right? Yeah, this should be fine. So let's wildcard on Badger. And then this is the low integrity one, 7296. Let's run seatbelt all and see what happens. So sharp inline. Just gonna pull it from seatbelt there since he has it. Oh, my Roomba. You can't hear it, but my Roomba is complaining at me. Please open the iRobot Home app for help. Okay, so this is probably gonna run for a while, so let's check that and net assemblies. So I didn't patch ETW by default, so this should load. And oh no, it probably does. Oh no, it probably does it by default. Yeah, ETW is killed. Can I turn that off? Yeah. Oh. Well, I can't see it. I just wanted to check out the abdomen stuff. What the random name generation looked like. But cool. Yeah, I'm not going to try to look at this that much. So how is this? So it's still running. Completed all safety checks in 3 seconds. That was quick. Yeah, it's not that much. It doesn't take a while. Let's see if I did this and then sysinfo. Can it do both? 1.0 is going to be hell of a beefy update. Well, self-hacker claims that Shavik Mel usually find those 20% solutions. ETW really kills. I think Haftung Olaf can probably testify to how much actually telemetry ETW kills. You would be amazed about how difficult like it is to, or how much of the real-time analysis stuff you can actually corrupt or heavily impact by just killing ETW. You wouldn't think it, but again, it is. Oh, so how is the... pretty bad for the Fender, yeah. I was about to say... where's the Chrome stuff? I would have to inline execute assembly sharp Chrome here, right? Or do you have something built in for using depop to decrypt cookies and login credentials? But some of them are 90% on right. So do you have, yeah, so having something built in for sharp depap, pulling that out and making it native either from Mimikatz or, you know, comparing it to sharp form would be cool. I tend, depending on what I'm up against, depap will be added, it's in the process. Already requested by customer. Cool. I mean, yeah. I think after that, that's like, so that's one of the, you know, you got the most basic, you got stuff covered. I'm able to change my indicators of compromise on the go. I have advanced evasion capabilities at my disposal if I choose and have to do a fork and run operation. I have SOCs, hopefully soon, SOCs 5. I'm able to, obviously there's a keylogger here. I'm able to pull and hopefully soon able to pull and decrypt cookies and login credentials from Chromium browsers. You know, at that point, and then obviously options for lateral movement is always nice, but technically lateral movement techniques can be replicated just using SOCs proxy and in packet. That's what we have been doing with the Cobalt Strike for years. Nobody uses, okay, so that's an understatement. That's not entirely correct, but you know, obviously with a vanilla Cobalt Strike installation, you can't actually use any of the jump commands or lateral movement commands, because it will drop a, you know, a clean Cobalt Strike beacon onto the target. So we have to recreate, replicate those lateral movement techniques through SOCs proxy anyhow, and that's what I've been doing. I do know, I have tested some of the binaries output from Brute Ratel. Right now its signatures are fine, it won't get you caught initially, but the same would apply here. You know, you would have to recreate those lateral movement techniques once the binary's signature starts to get caught in terms from like a static perspective, and you would wrap it yourself and not and move laterally by replicating it yourself from impact through like Impact or any other ish module. So once you have all that, then you have the stealthy LSS dump, which is really nice. So we could try to fire up a name pipe beacon, wow. We could try to fire up a badger connecting back over name pipe. That's right. C4 profile, add listener. Wait, where's this? I know where this is. Don't tell me. No, where is this? It's like there we go. Profile, there we go. Payload type. SMB, okay. So unique name, config name. We already had one from the template that we used, but we could just use this. My first SMB name pipe. This can be anything. You know, stealing one from Chrome is really typical. Honestly, not sure how much detection work is done just based on name pipe Olaf. Do you want to comment on that? That'd be cool. That's something I always. The password for this should be the same as that of the HTTP listener. Because we specified that one in the config. Okay, so that's... Can't I choose anything else, or what do you mean? I could just use whatever password I want here, right? I have some, but it's genuinely overlooked area. Because it's probably going to give you a whole lot of false positives if you start detecting just based on name pipes, right? New name pipe, because name pipes. If you do what I'm about to do here and you list out name pipes active in the Windows installations, you're going to see so much crap. Like there's going to be, you know what I mean? And these Mojo ones are typical for Chrome. Just going to use those. Oops. Okay, because it's relayed back. Okay, cool. Yeah, you have an ls in Brute Ratel, so you could use that to view the name pipes. So let me just check what password I used for that configuration. I just used the default one, so the password is sat here, and it's this one. So I'll just use that, and that's in my first SMB. And then I'll try to inject that. So I'll search for inject. Keylogger. Inject the new HTTP to payload using a system payload config to given process ID. So that's probably what we're looking for. So it is process ID. So that's yes. Let's pick. This is the highly elevated ones. We can pick anyone. Let's just pick the runtime broker at 772. Hopefully that doesn't break too much. 772. TSCrap search process. Nice. Payload config name, that would be also autocomplete here if possible, would be great. Yeah, my first SMB, I think is what I called it. My first SMB. Will this attempt to open the pipe name since it knows I'm using a name pipe connection back, or will I still have to do the link or whatever we have here? Is it link? I think it's link. Yeah, right. So pivot SMB just establishes the connection. Yep. Oh, which one did I pick? Okay, so is it because I technically didn't include the pipe stuff? Or is it because the injection failed because I chose a bad process? Incorrect password, it seems. Okay, let's take a look at the payload profiler that came. So that uses a different password than the payload profiler for the HTTP stuff. So is E2 error code for password? Okay, so that's a different off. Interesting. Did I do it wrong? Listeners, view authentication. Scratch pad. Oh, how? Wait. How? Okay. Ah, that's right. I did not create it from the profile. You are entirely correct. Let's update that password. So yeah, you are correct. So listener, view authentication. Okay, that automatically copies it there. That's cool. And then we'll have to change that profiler. So my first SMB will update the password there. Cool. I'll guess we'll update it there as well. Why not? And then we'll try to recreate it. Hitmaker's pain. Yeah, I think I need to how long can I time out somebody in chat? I think the max is like a couple of days. Let's try again. Let's just pick another process here. Let's do your phone. Oh wait, did I choose the wrong? Ah, you sneaky. So parent PID ID is the first and then PID is the next. I used the parent PID ID, so it should still work because the parent PID ID exists, but okay. So I think in Cobalt it's the other way around. In Cobalt it's PID first and then parent PID ID. That's okay, cool. You know, once you know, you know. So this is the one I'm actually trying to 231, that's something else, but guessing I'm doing something wrong here. My brain always, like, when people starts to... Ah, never mind. That is the same, right? It is. Injected to 1 to 2. So unless that died, it should be in there. Air pipe busy. Because, okay, so... Because the existing one is already in there. So I might need to kill the runtime broker then. I'll just do that. Yeah. Which one was it? Which one was it? Oh. I'll just use the other one. Yeah, that's a cool suggestion, Olaf. How hard would it be to have a dynamic pipe name? That would be nice. Dynamic pipe name would be sweet, actually, now that I think about it. It would. You know that you're making life really hard right now for your, not necessarily for yourself, but for a lot of people, right, Olaf? There we go. Now we got the linked. Oh. So now we got it up and running here. So it's this one. Now I think if you go to the map, we can actually see it. So let's see if I figure out how to show the map. Oh, there's a way. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Server. There we go. No, not mitre map. Ah, never mind. Fuck it. I mean, that's true. I was just kind of joking with you, but yeah, no. I mean, that would be a really dope feature and a really easy feature to this as well. Having that as random, say for the name pipe, so it would have to be from like the prior profile level, and it would have to be decided. So you would have to, yeah. So once you notice a usage of the SMB profile or whatever, it outputs the name pipe which it chose to generate into the console. Then I would have to use that chosen name pipe when I open a connection to it. That would be a really cool usage. It's in the list. It's in the listener tab, the map. Yes. Okay, so that's per listener again. Okay, cool. That makes sense. I guess. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Where is it? Oh yeah, there we go. There's the SMB name pipe, and then there's probably a way to turn on like the names, expand all. Cool. Yeah, then it's really similar to the process used, and it would avoid these collisions. Yeah, no, that would be cool. You would just have the profile would just decide it before it generates. Some only use PID, some PID, and then thread, some just random garbage. So you could easily identify it. Sure. You could, yeah, no, there's definitely ways to do that. That would be cool. What's up, Fuzzy Loser? Thank you for joining in. How are you doing today? Cool. Trying to think of other stuff that we haven't tried yet. Obviously, there's a lot, but things I want to take a look at. I should have, for next checkout, I'll definitely set up like an obstacle course we'll have to get through together to check stuff. That'd be cool. That'd be definitely cool. Doing good myself. Thanks for asking. Memhunt. Why not? Oh, that's okay. So that's where to start. So let's do. That's gonna be a lot, but why not? Yeah, now it's hunting my own process. Hunting the first 40 or something. Is there a timestamp here? There isn't actually. So that would be, or let's see, maybe it's called something else. That would be cool to have like a timestamp here. That's really, yeah, that's an easy add as well, together with the SMB profile stuff for random name pipe generation or semi-random name pipe generation by defining like global vars that gets replaced at runtime. So that's a really good indicator, like using timestamping or timestamping on binaries to drop can really confuse some other people in the later on. It's really good practice. Is there anything to view currently loaded DLLs in remote processes? That would be really nice. If I could like, if I want to do persistency on the box that is really specific to the box, and I see some sort of weird software running in the processes tab, I might want to check, you know, all the DLLs loaded by that process and see if there's any DLLs in user writable areas that I can, you know, DLL proxy off of. That'd be cool. I think you have one for your current process, but I'm not. Okay, so you do have list modules with the pin. Cool. Let's say I wanted to see if, obviously, you would do this against a specific software or uncommon or something, and use. Let's use Brave for this. Brave is all Chromium, so it's probably not going to be anything. But let's just do that. 1676. List modules 1676. Then we can see all the DLLs loaded by that process, and if we were lucky, one of these DLLs would be very specific to the software and would be in a user writable folder. So obviously System32 is not a user writable folder, so I can't DLL hijack based on that, or a proxy DLL based on that. So you would have to find a DLL in the user writable directory. You know, I think you know, both Teams and Slack and a whole bunch of other applications still have DLLs dropping in user writable directories that you can easily proxy DLL and persist off. And again, just one of those really nice ways of persisting on a machine, because it's very typically highly specific to that machine. If you yeah. Yeah, I know. That's really nice though. That's why we, you know, raised them open. So again, that's why Cobalt Strike is or that's why, that's just a testament of how much impact Cobalt Strike has had. When, you know, Cobalt Strike introduced buffs, we started creating further functionality and extending Cobalt Strike existing functionality. And then, you know, a lot of other C2s starting implementing a buff loader or a cuff loader again, which is something, you know, a guy from our end at TrustedSec released a cuff loader, and which was a proof of concept on how to load buffs. So you can implement it yourself. And now, you know, you have buff loader. I know Nighthawk has it, Sliver has it, Empire has it. I mean, every C2 known to man has some way of loading buffs at this point. It seems like so. Just a testament to the impact Cobalt Strike has had. Cool. I like it. No, we definitely have to get an obstacle course going. Definitely. Like, create a lab and then I'll create a PowerShell script that creates some sort of, or like that creates like a little course for us that we have to go through with each C2, and then purple. I don't follow. Purple teaming? Or does the keylogger Does the keylogger only inject out, or can you inject it into your own process? Can you avoid injecting out? For sure is. Into target, okay. That would be another one. Inject the keylogger into your current running process. Do you have a screen watcher? That would also be something to have. Okay, set by set child to get the output. Time loop to screenshot, yeah, so technically you can have anything. Hidden desktop. What was that again? Oh, it's basically like VNC. Outflank. Oh, okay, so I haven't heard anything about this. Outflanks hidden desktop. Me googling like a madman on the side here. Outflank hidden desktop. Never heard of that. Guessing that's a part of their red team tooling stuff that they offer. Hidden desktop. Hidden interaction with your target's desktop. It's like magic. You can move the mouse and open GUI applications on the hidden desktop on the target machine. Don't be fooled. There is so much more than VNC or RDP. The user can continue working. He has no indication of your presence. Perfect for post-exploitation alt actions and objectives, such as getting access to fat client pay. Okay, that's really cool. I was about to say that it, not that it sounded dumb, but that it sounded like way too much. But this is, I mean, I definitely see this being usable. I've been on engagements where the user has their MFA applications on their desktop, but I haven't been able to caught them with it open for the specific application I want to use. But here, you know, you would just open the application. That's really cool. Yeah, that would be cool. I have no idea how that's implemented. That'd be really cool. It's all. This is basically all there is about it. It's their private stuff. So. Might be able to find something similar. Okay, that would be really cool. Yeah, excellent for MFA capture. Excellent for a lot of other stuff as well. Fat clients, as they mentioned themselves, but particularly, I mean, just imagine a freaking LastPass dash lane password vaults. Perfect for password vaults, you know? Password vaults that piggyback on browser extensions that are by default authenticated for X amount of days before you have to re-authenticate. Perfect. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. That's cool. That's really cool. I definitely see that being useful. Specifically for MFA capture and for interacting with whatever you know, password vault system they're using, if that's on client and not, you know, some sort of like localized server, and obviously for like other sort of fat clients related to maybe point of sale systems, payment applications, stuff like that. That's really cool. Yeah, that's really cool. I like it. That's cool. I'm gonna say it one more time. That's cool. Yeah, it's definitely not. I mean, I have no idea how it's implemented, so I wouldn't be able to know how stealthy or how noisy it is, but it sounds super noisy. I mean, again, I have no idea how it's implemented, but it sounds super noisy. Probably, it just sounds super noisy. Probably, that must be. Yeah, again, I wonder how that's implemented. Either it's implemented in such a stupid, simple way that it's not noisy, or it's not noisy to the extent that, you know, you're not doing something super abnormal, or it's implemented in a way where it's like super complex and super noisy from like a forensic standpoint or from like a detection standpoint. Cool. One of the indications is the second explorer. Okay, well. Well, we're talking about virtual desktop access right now. It's pretty cool. Hey, Moxroy joined the chat. So keylog over a period of time would be nice. Actually, rule-specific keylogging in general would be great. Having keylogs that trigger just for specific windows. Oh man, that would save so much. Like just a convenience thing. Like keylog only when, you know, they're in their password manager, or only when they open the Cisco AnyConnect client. Stuff like that. Rule-based keylogging. Or at least keylog over a period of time. That's a great feature. Mic record. Honestly, for my taste, I find that even a bit too intrusive. You know what I mean? I could easily watch people keystrokes and browse through files and emails on you know, workstations on behalf of a company, but that just, you know, mic recording for me just gets really invasive. I don't think I would like it. Even though it's technically just as... Yeah, no, yeah. Virtual desktop thing would be super sweet though. Also, working hours. I might not meet that many other C2 frameworks. And this is what's great about something like Brute Ratel now, is that you're able to interact with the developer team, being him, a solo guy, as much as you like. And I know that you can, in fact, you know, just submit to the Cobalt Strike team as well, but it's a whole... Yeah. Just different. So keylogging working hours, but also in general beacon working hours would be great. Being able to tell, the badger working hour. Being able to specify in the profile that the badger should only be talking back between between specific hours of the day. That would be great. Or even, even take it a step further. Only talk back when a specific set of processes are running to mask network traffic. You know what I mean? Only call back when Chrome is running. You know what I mean? To mask network traffic. It sounds stupid, but it might be very useful post-exploitation to be able to enable something like that. You know? That's when you're gonna stick out. That's when they're gonna snag out that network traffic. When it's 2 a.m. their time and they're not doing anything, but there's something called back all the time. So having working hours specific to either time or specific to a combination of time and running applications. Running applications being the indication that there is network traffic going on the system, because there's no other way to easily determine, you know, outbound network traffic. I'm assuming technically that's wrong. I don't know what you would have to hook into or get callbacks from to identify outbound network traffic without being high privileged. That'd be super cool. Good ideas, for sure. Wow, 2 hours. Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, I think we're gonna try to close that out then. But I think for the next time, I'm definitely gonna continue playing around with C2s. But I want to get some sort of obstacle course down to be able to understand a lot of the functionality more, because it's very easy to, you know, spawn up a badger or a beacon, just take a look at the functionality and use them one by one. But as soon as you actually try to use them to get to a goal, you might see cracks in how stuff actually works. You know what I mean? So I think I still think this license should be active next Sunday. So I might even do a Brute Ratel round 2 with an obstacle course, or I might not. I might do Sliver, I might do Cobalt. We'll see. Yeah, thanks so much for joining. Really appreciate it, Olaf. Awesome that Nina joined in as well. You know, having the developer of the C2 answer questions is always good. I don't think it impacted our way of coming. You know, I don't think it impacted the way we talked or how we approach feature requests and possible critical pieces, or what am I trying to say? Or how we approached needed fixes or whatever. Awesome. I think that's going to be it for today. I really appreciate everybody joining in. You didn't suck up to him, indeed. Oh, Olaf, you just said it. Thank you so much. If anything, we were more brutal. Great stream indeed. Thank you so much for the feedback. Appreciate that. Well, we broke 40 viewers. I don't think we had that many viewers before, so that's really interesting. Really cool that we got that highlight. Of course, I'll plug in the... I'm apparently really good at advertising on behalf of others, except myself. So I'll plug my Discord here. If you want to join my Discord, feel free to do that. Right now, it's more of a hangout. Sometimes I hang out after the stream. Actually, I'm doing that today as well. So if you want to join the voice channel and have a chat after the stream, feel free to do so. There's the Discord link. Any submissions is also there. If I do tool releases on my stream, I usually release them on the Discord a couple of days or even weeks in advance. So might be some sneaky stuff in there. Feel free to join if you want to. I'll go grab some food and a cup of coffee, and I'll join the voice chat on the Discord if you wanna have a chat after the stream. Really appreciate it, guys. See you all next Sunday, and have a great Monday when it rolls around. Peace out.